Greetings, people. It's Jared here, Wolfgang1, back to do another Transformers review. This week, I thought I'd take a look at a more recent figure, one that came out of the War for Cybertron trilogy toy line, and it came out in the middle section, Earthrise. And the toy line doesn't necessarily reflect the media that was attached to it. In fact, the cartoon of Earthrise made little to no fucking sense whatsoever. But I've wanted to do this figure for a while, but I just wasn't sure where I was going to fit it in my schedule. So I finally found a slot for it. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are my thoughts on Earthrise Hoist.
Okay, so here's Hoist in his Earthrise packaging. I quite liked the Earthrise boxes actually because the artwork on the side was like really good. Hoist's artwork on, like, for example, here is fantastic. The boxes are quite standard, so you've got a shot of the robot mode, the alt mode, and the special feature for the tow line and everything like that. It says here connect. I'm not sure what that's referring to. Connecting to, I don't know, maybe uh, Fortress Maximus or some shit like that. I honestly don't know. Um, Lovely how they've managed to pick a nice little picture for the alt mode here on the back of the box, which sort of doesn't sort of tell you some of the inherent problems that the alt mode has. I will come onto that when I do the alt mode review, but that there, right there, is quite telling as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so the colours here are obviously a hell of a lot lighter than on the final product, which is a shame. Actually, I kind of think the colours that they've chosen here are quite cool. But at the same time, Hoist's colours were a lot darker than this, so I'm glad that they did actually go with the darker green for the actual robot itself. You've got the Siege artwork just on the side here, depicting Earthrise, which is kind of cool. But apart from that, there's not a hell of a lot else to say about the box. So why don't we just get straight on into this, and we'll show off the figure itself. Okay, so here is Hoist in his alt mode, his tow truck pickup mode, and it's a pretty sort of faithful recreation of his G1 counterpart. Some nice detailing on the sides of the van, just here with like the sort of the emergency decals right there. Right at the front there, we've got some spray painted on, which is supposed to be paint chipping on the hood of the vehicle, and a nice Autobot emblem stamped right on the front of the hood. I would have really hoped to see like sort of the paint damage sort of stuff on like sort of the Siege line, as opposed to Earthrise, because now that allegedly now they're on Earth, even though that's not what the cartoon indicated, I don't really see why you would need that much paint chipping and paint damage on the front of the vehicle, but whatever. I quite like this alt mode. That I do have several gripes with it. First of all, these wheels painted at the front, but they haven't bothered filling them in at the back, and obviously these wheels are able to pop off these little things just here. The thing that really fucks me off, and this is one thing that the G1 did perfectly, and yet somehow this one is incapable of doing, is hiding the arms and the hands. So if I turn it over, you can see like those are the arms just there. That'll obviously be the legs, but these here, the hands, are totally on show. Whereas on the G1 version, they were tucked behind these panels just here. It's just a shame that you couldn't have found a way, because I mean, it's not as if there's not enough fucking room here. Do you see what I mean? To like sort of tuck the arms underneath, just like in G1 Blue Streak, Prowl, Jazz, Smokescreen, that sort of thing, where the arms were like sort of tucked very, very tightly underneath the bonnet of the car, the hood of the car. Whereas with these, they're just hanging down for all to see. And that bugs the shit out of me. I for some reason, I feel like, why have you done that? But you know, I'm not a toy designer, so you know, I guess my opinion on that is worth literally less than fuck all. But I do feel like they've got something to explain there. You've also got these little things here which move, and you've also got the tow ramp thing again, hidden in the same way as the G1 version. This version, however, does not work particularly well. One, it's much smaller than the G1 version, and you can get a car onto it. So let's take Studio Series 86 Jazz, for example, and you can attach a vehicle like that, but you've got to be very, very careful, because the slightest movement and it just sort of falls away. You've got to be very careful the way you move that. So that doesn't really have much play value in there at all, considering the car will just literally fall off it, because these sections here aren't enough to get underneath any particular car. That's better, but that's still dodgy. So yeah, not brilliant, but whatever. The colours, let's get Jazz out of the way. I don't know, I'll put Jazz over here where you obviously you can't see it. The colours, on the other hand, are fantastic. Everything is kept pretty much the same. Before I get onto the transformation, I'm just going to show the two things that Earthrise Hoist came with. It came with one instruction booklet, which I really should have read before I did this review, because I'm not entirely sure how to do the transformation. But you know what? We'll make it up as we go along. That's what you've come to expect from my reviews. One fucking balls up after another. And he came with one little plug-in sort of thing that rests on his hand, so it acts like in like sort of the G1 where you had like one hand and a tool or a weapon. This is basically that tool or weapon. So yeah, and this can plug anywhere on the vehicle. It can plug on the wheel. Quite know why you do that. I don't know, because that just looks shit amongst all shit. It can plug on the side, either side of the vehicle, like that. I don't know why you do that, because that looks shit amongst shit. Or it can plug up here in the top, and whereas that still looks like shit, that is by far the least looking shit version that you have available to you. So those are your options basically. He rolls very nicely on his plastic wheels, no problems there. My main one bugging gripe with this alt mode, apart from the fact that the back is messy as fuck, is the fact that you've got all this visible robot kibble down here. This should not even be a thing, really, but it's damn sight better than the Generations hoist, which I thought just looked gangly, awkward, and shit, basically, which is a word that I think you'll notice that I'm coming back to more and more in this review, but whatever. The Autobot symbol would have been nice to have actually have seen just like the red offset against the green a little bit more without the white. I don't know, maybe the red would have got lost on the green if they hadn't have had the white included there, but I don't know, it kind of breaks up the green for me. So I kind of would like to have seen the Autobot symbol integrated more into the colour scheme of the vehicle. But again, nitpicking. I'm not a toy designer. I know nothing about this shit. I'm just the end consumer. And that's about it for Hoist in his alt mode, really. So let's take him to his transformation. We're going to start by, I think, disconnecting the arms just like that, and then I don't know, doing fuck knows what with them, really. Let's leave them like that. We'll bring the bonnet of the car up like this, and then we'll start trying to get everything disconnected and out the way. We'll also come around the back and disconnect these panels just here from what will be the legs. And I think, yeah, basically the whole plan is you just need to start separating shit. So let's bring this camera back a little bit so you can see what the fuck I'm doing. There we are. Again, didn't look at the instructions. So pull this down, bring these sections out and bring them forward, and that will be the legs. Try and get these sections out of the way, get the arms out from underneath it, bring the side panels of the vehicle out to the sides like this. That looks a little bit more like what it's supposed to be. We are then going to try and get this hood panel, because the head's underneath there, so I'm just trying to remember how to do that. That's it. You want to flip the head panel around like this, lock it into place, bring the chest bonnet section down like this, and I think you want to clip that into place as well. I'm pretty sure that clipped in. I could be lying my ass off there, but I was pretty sure that plugged. There we are, like that. And then just start straightening shit up for the limbs and everything like that. And then you've got Hoist in his robot mode. Now I will say here, right, bring that panel back down so that fills in a little bit of the back. So that's quite a nice tidy little back. bring these little things up. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, once I've fucked around with extremities and hands and all the rest of it, will be Hoist in robot mode. Come on, you cunt. Come on, you cunt. There we are. Right, so these side panels here don't come all the way down like they would have done with the original. They do stick out a little bit. And then you can position his arms and do whatever. That is basically Hoist's basic robot mode right there. And the robot mode is a damn sight more successful than the alt mode. Let's give him his little thing that'll just plug into his hand like this and sit over the hand, as you can see, just like that. Let's bring that all the way down if I can. There we are. So that sits down completely over the hand, and now he's sort of holding, or that's taking over his hand. You can do that on either side if you want. The head sculpt is absolutely fantastic. See if I can't get a close-up shot of that. Why not? There we are. The head sculpt is absolutely on point. Maybe it would have been nice to see the ears maybe a little higher, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The faceplate is like is that sort of mixed in this? No, the faceplate is, I think, the same as black as the head, maybe a slightly metallic grey. But apart from that, he does look very, very nice in robot mode. There we are. Let's come that back out like that. Yeah, articulation in all the places you expect to find in a modern toy. There we are. He's got a little bit of ankle tilt in here, although when the legs transform, it's all like basically it all looks like it's one complete thing. But you do have a little bit of a ankle movement just there. And there he is. That is Hoist in robot mode. Would I recommend this figure? I kind of would, actually, because it's a decent update. It's as I said, much more decent update than the Generations version. And they also had the Combiner Wars version as well of Trailbreaker. That was a steaming pile of shit. You had the Legends, Trailbreaker, and Hoist as well. They weren't very good. These ones, I've got to say, do actually represent their robot modes far better than any previous version to come before them. I said alt mode, just to show that the alt mode doesn't quite hide all the things you wanted to hide, because there shouldn't be really any robot kibble in the alt mode. But there we are. That's all I can say on that. It would have been nice for them to have just done a little bit to change that. They obviously decided not to. On the whole, it doesn't detract from what a decent figure the actual robot mode is. So I can't remember what I paid for this. I think I paid about maybe 15, 16 quid, 20 quid for it, something like that. And yeah, I wasn't 100% disappointed when I got it. So as I said, the alt mode, I just went, oh. Once I got into alt mode and I saw the hand kibble and the leg kibble sticking out from under the sides, I sort of let out a little sigh and just went, oh, really? But apart from that, yeah, he is pretty cool. So yeah, if you were thinking of getting him or you were on the fence about him, those are my gripes on him. If you want, pick him up. He's a decent little bot, especially in robot mode. He's a decent little bot, and as a replacement for any previous classics version you might have had beforehand, he certainly does the business. I never picked up Trailbreaker. I am still thinking about picking up Trailbreaker at some point if I can. Obviously, going into it now knowing the limitations that the alt mode actually has. But yeah, that's Earthrise Hoist, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's pretty cool. I've got to say, I think he's pretty cool. So thank you very much for watching this review. This is Gerald Gavin Barry, also known as Wolfgang1, saying I'll be back next week with another review. There's more 7 Days to Die content coming. There's more other content coming. Random various shit. I can't think of off the top of my head. Do hope you enjoyed this review. give us a comment. Give us your thoughts on the figure if you have it, if you don't, if you were thinking of picking it up, if you thought it was a steaming pile of shit and you stayed well clear of it. Let me know what your particular thoughts on this were. Until we see each other again next week, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching and take care.